You can draw this in Procreate, or this, or this, or maybe this, or something entirely different. During this Procreate tutorial, I will show you how you can easily draw a character. This tutorial is perfect for beginners in Procreate. I will guide you through every step. We'll start off with the base structure of the face, and then I will show you how you can create a different mouths, different noses, different eyes, different hairstyles, and you can make your own choices along the way. So I'm sure that your character will look absolutely unique. And that makes me really curious, so I would love it if you would share your work. If you're sharing it on Instagram, then tag me in the image, not just in the description. I love browsing through your work. Now for this tutorial, I'm working on a canvas that is 2500 pixels by 2500 pixels. I have created a color palette with some suggestions for colors, but of course you can pick your own. I have left a link in the description. It's totally free. And then if you're ready, let's get started. We'll start out by sketching our character before we add the line art. And I like to sketch with the round chalk pencil, which you can find in the free treasure chest brush pack. But of course you can use any sketching brush you like. So I'll use that with a dark color like black. And I have my opacity set to 100% and the size at 50. And then the first thing we'll do is just draw a circle. So draw a circle like this and then hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. Then I'd like to make sure that our circle is in the center of our canvas. So we'll go to the arrow up here. Let's set it to uniform here. And then under snapping, turn on snapping. And we want it to be in the vertical center. So once you see that vertical orange line, you are in the right spot. Let's place it about here. And maybe we can make it slightly bigger. Just make sure that you have it set to uniform. Yeah, I'll place it over here and then tab the arrow again. Next, we'll turn on the symmetry tool. That will make life so much easier for our character drawing. And to turn that on, you need to go to the wrench, then to canvas, then turn on drawing guide, and then tap edit drawing guide. And then here at the bottom, you see symmetry. And you just need to tap that and then tap done. Now when you go to your layer menu, you will see that this layer is assisted, and that means that that symmetry is turned on. Now we'll go to the magic wand and then to liquify. And we'll set liquify to push with distortion and momentum set to none. Pressure, I have that set to max. And for the size, you can play around with that. Let me set it to 70% for now. And now we are going to make a face shape. Let's push this down to create a chin. And you can push and pull. Maybe you want your face to look a bit more rounded, or maybe very, very thin. You can play around with the size of your brush. We'll have it at 55. You want a bit of a jawline here. And we can make the sides a bit more flat. I think a head shape like this will look cute. Then once you have this, you can tap the magic wand again and again to get out of there. And I will want to make some guidelines so we'll know where we need to place the facial features. The first thing we'll do is find the center of our head. I think that's about here. And that's where the eyes will be. Let's make a line going through that point. Well, that's a bit too low, but we can just tap line here at the top and then move it upward. Then we can tap the brush again and make another line a little bit higher, and that's where the eyebrows will be. So that's a little bit higher. Let's go for about here. And I will make a line again, so draw a line. You can hold your pen in place for the quick line, and when you tap one finger on the screen, it'll be a perfectly horizontal line. So now we have two lines, the line for the eye and for the eyebrows. And now we'll want to find the middle between this line and the bottom of the chin, because that's where the bottom of the nose will be. And I think that will be about here. So now let's make a line again. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and if it's needed, go to edit to move it up a little bit. And then tap the brush again to get out of here. Now we need the same distance and go up to find an estimation of the hairline. That's about here. Let's just make a line like this. So now we roughly have 3 equal parts from the hairline to the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose, from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. Now that we have all this, it's time to sketch in our character. Let's lower the opacity of this sketch. Let's tab the N and let's set it to 50%. Then let's tap the plus for a new layer. And then let's set this new layer to Drawing Assist, because that way symmetry is turned on here, and whatever we do on one side of the canvas, it'll also show up on the other side. So now let's first go for that face shape. Let's just follow that line and create a clearer outline. Just to about here. Later we'll make that hair. And let's also create a neck about this wide. Just something like this, very basic neck. Then let's start adding the facial features on separate layers. We can tap the plus for another layer, and again, let's turn on Drawing Assist. And then let's find the place for the eyes. We need to use this line as a guide, and for eyes, the space between the eyes is usually the same as the width of one eye. And we can create a variety of eyes. You can keep it very simple and create a round shape like this. Just keep an eye on that center and make the space about equal to the width of one eye. So we can make a rounded shape and then put another circle inside for an iris or for a very simple pupil. And you can color that in to get a sense of the eye. And you can either make this entirely dark in your final drawing, or you can add a color and then add a pupil like this. So that's up to you. I'll keep it like this. In this case, you can shade a little bit to get a nice idea for the eye. You can also go for something that's a bit more like an oval, a bit less rounded, or a bit more like almond shaped. And you could leave a gap here on the left. You could make the iris a bit smaller, for instance. You could also add some lashes. You could even go for these creepy Coraline-like button eyes by just drawing a circle with another circle inside and these 4 little dots. It's entirely up to you what type of eyes your character will have. I'd like to go for something girly. Let's start a little bit underneath our eye line, then go up like this. Make a nice curve like this for the upper eyelid. And then a curve right underneath here. Make nice big eyes. Here we'll have the lashes. Make it a little bit dark on this side, and then for the iris, we'll make a rounded shape. You can color it in a bit, shade it a bit, and then add a pupil. Then you can turn off Drawing Assist here in the menu and grab the eraser. You can tap and hold it to make it switch to the same brush you're using as a sketching brush, and then add these highlights just to get this idea for the eyes. Now let's turn symmetry back on by tapping the layer and turning on Drawing Assist. Now the great thing about this is that you can always go to the magic wand and then to liquify, and you can just play around with the eyes adjust them a little bit, perhaps make them a bit bigger. And this will happen on both sides at the same time. All right, next let's work on a nose. Let's make a new layer on top. And let's turn on symmetry again by tapping the layer and turning on drawing assist. Let's grab our brush. And for the nose, you can keep it very simple and just create a round little nose. Or you can make like an oval shape like this, and then a bit of a triangular shape at the bottom. So this is the top of the nose, and then you can shade the bottom of the nose like this. And the width of the nose is about the same as that width between the eyes. In this case, it's a little bit smaller. That can look cute. And if you want to go for a big nose, then of course you can go a little bit wider than that width between the eyes, or try to stay reasonably close to that. Another type of nose you can make is one by making a bigger shape like this, then a curve like this, and then the underside is pretty flat. And then you can make two little nostrils. Maybe curve this inward a bit more. And then finally, a way to make a nose is by creating these outer nostrils, these little curves, and then another curve like this. And of course you can vary the width here. Now I'd like to go for the second nose. Now it's time to add a mouth. Let's make a new layer on top. Let's turn on drawing assist. And for the mouth, you can start off by creating the corners of the mouth. It's a bit above the halfway point between the chin and the bottom of the nose. And then just create a smile like this. That's a very simple looking mouth. Or you can go for a line like this to those corners and then make a curve underneath for an open smile. And then here you could make teeth, for instance. And you can shade the center. And then finally, you could go for some girly lips. Let's first create the corners of the mouth. Then we'll make a shape. First we'll curve down, then up a little bit, and then down. So it's like almost like an M shape, but very flat. Then here on top, we can make the top lip. And here the bottom lip. And again, you can easily go to the liquify tool under the magic wand and move it around and create a mouth that pleases you. Maybe she wants to smile a little bit more. I think this looks cute. Let's tap the magic wand again. And now let's create some eyebrows. Let's do that on a layer on top. Let's turn on drawing assist. And you need to start the eyebrows on this line. You start them a little bit to the left of the corner of the eye. Curve up and then down back to that line. And you can create a shape like this. We go a little bit further. And with the eyebrows, you can play around with the shape. Of course, you can use liquify again. Push them up or down. Curve them, make her look a bit more angry. This is an easy way to experiment with the expression. Next, let's create the ears. Again, we'll make a new layer by tapping the plus. We'll set the layer to drawing assist, and we'll make simple ears. Now for the ears, usually the top of the ear is about the height of the eye, and the bottom is near the bottom of the nose. So let's just create a very simple ear shape. Rounded shape like this. Then we'll make a curve over here. And we can make a little loopy over here. Very basic, cartoony ear. Next, we need hair. Let's create the hair on a layer on top of the others. Let's tap the plus and let's start with a short hairstyle. Let's start here on the side, then we'll go up to about that hairline. Then make shape going down and one like this. And you don't need to follow that hairline exactly. Of course, that hair is hanging down a little bit. That's just where the hair is coming out of the head. Curve like this. And back to the side here. Then create a shape over here. And over here as well. Curve down. We'll make some like spikes. Rounded shape like this. Then go like this. You need to be higher than the top of the head because the hair has volume, of course. It's not lying super flat on the head. There's some blobby shapes for this nice short haircut. You can also make a haircut that goes downward a little bit across the eyebrow. So like a curve like this and then back up. Also a short hairstyle. Sure to add some hair over here. And then on this side, moves up towards that area. Then over here, make a loop like this. And then on this side, something like this. Of course, you can create your own variations to this. Maybe some shapes like this here. So this is another simple short hairstyle. Next, let's create buns. For this style, we can turn on symmetry. So we can tap the layer, turn on drawing assist, and then we can start here in the center and then curve towards the side of the head. And then up here, add a little bit of volume around the head. And then here we can make these buns. Can make some curves following that shape. So these curves go like this, and on this side they'll go in this direction. And some hairs going outward here towards that bun. And finally, let's go for a long hairstyle. Let's start by creating a shape over here across the eyebrow a bit, moving up here, then some hair going down like this, also over here curving towards this area, then over here let's make this a bit more rounded, go up towards this area where all the hair is like coming from. Then we'll curve over here to the left along the ear, make a curve like this. Then down here, a bit like these cloudy shapes. And on this side as well, along the ear. And here, shape it like this, going back up. And maybe some loose hairs here. And just like with all the elements, you can definitely go to the magic wand, use liquify, push and pull parts to shape the hair. Maybe you like to have it or give it a bit more volume. This gives you full control. Now let's tap the magic wand again to get out of here. You've made it this far already. If you are enjoying this tutorial and you want to challenge yourself even more, then I think you might want to check out my Patreon page. I have a lot more Procreate tutorials there. There are more than 150, and there is a wide range of difficulty levels, but also styles and subjects. So I'm pretty sure there's always a project that you'll enjoy. But now let's move on. And once you have all the elements you need, you can start creating the line art. To do that, we can get rid of these lines that we have. We no longer need them, so let's remove that layer. I have cleaned up my file and got rid of all the extra elements that I have created. Now this is what my face, or what my character's face looks like, but I'm counting on it that yours will probably look very different. But that doesn't matter, the steps will be the same. We are going to merge all these layers, and then we are going to lower the opacity. So we'll tap the N. Lower the opacity. I usually set it to around 30%. And then we'll tap the plus for a new layer on which we can create the line art. Now for any symmetrical parts, you can turn on drawing assist, of course. So let's turn that on for now while we work on symmetrical elements. And for the brush, I'd like to go to the inking brushes. Those are Procreate standard brushes, and I'd like to use the Studio pen. And for the color for the line art, I prefer to not use black. For this type of project, I think it's nice to use a dark brown or reddish color, for instance, like this fifth color in the color palette in the second row. I have the opacity of the brush at 100%. We don't want transparent lines. And the size is at 10%. So start with the symmetrical parts like the face. Let's just start here. And go up over here. And we can add that little part later. And it can be nice to make. Sometimes you need to work on the lines a bit more, maybe make these a little bit thicker. I'll fix this little center part. Then for the ear, go like this. Add this curve. And then for the little curve, let's just make a quick line like this. Maybe we can do the same for that top line, actually, not finish it. We'll go for something like this. But of course, that's your choice. Then for the mouth, we'll only create a line for, well, that center line, that line between the lips. And we'll leave the rest alone. So start with that corner. And then follow this line. Now for the nose, I just want to add 2 nostrils. And we'll use our sketch for the shading. Maybe make them a little bit wider apart. Yeah, I like that. Then for the eyebrows, we can put the hair on a separate layer. So let's just create the eyebrows here. Create a line like this. And we can also add some of these lines like this, like hairs. Go all the way to the end, drag in the color, and then the eyes. I'll start here, create that curve, and then just add volume to it. Work on those lashes, or just create a single thick lash, like a little cat eye. And then a line over here. Maybe go a little bit further, but not all the way to the corner. Unless you decided to create another type of eye, of course. Then for the irises, let's grab another brush. Let's grab one under calligraphy, the monoline brush. Since we are going to create a circle, we need a brush that doesn't change size when you press harder or lighter. The opacity of this brush is also at 100%, and I'll set the size to 10%. And then let's follow our sketch like this. Hold your pen in place. And now we have this perfect circle. And then let's fix this a little bit. Let's create another circle for our pupil. Hold your pen in place. And you can tap ellipse here at the top. If you need to adjust it a little bit, let's place it about here and then drag in the color. Then we need to add this little line here. Let's go back to our inking brushes and use that studio pen. And let's turn off drawing assist now. So tap the layer, turn off drawing assist so we can add that little line without it showing up on the other side as well. Then I realized that we haven't drawn the neck yet, so let's turn drawing assist back on. Over here, and then let's also add this line. I want it to look a bit playful, so I have a little break in my line. I like that. And now on a separate layer, we'll create the hair. So let's make a new layer on top of this. We'll tap the plus. And then just like with the face, we'll just follow these lines until you have lines for your hair like this. As you can see, I've also added a few stray little hairs, and I haven't followed my sketch exactly everywhere. Just feel free to adjust your lines and let go of that sketch. Now let's tidy this up a little bit, because here we have some hair in front of the face part and the ear. So let's clean that up on the other layer. Do make sure that you turn off drawing assist, otherwise you will be erasing on both the sides. So let's turn that off. Then let's tap and hold the eraser to make it switch to that studio pen. And then let's tidy this up. To erase this. And over here for the eyebrow. Over here as well. And I think that's all. Then if you are happy with your lines, you can merge these two together. Just don't merge them with the sketch layer. And now we can go ahead and color our character. Let's first make a new layer by tapping the plus and drag it underneath both the sketch layer and the line art layer. But let's lower the opacity of the sketch a bit more to like 20%. Now to easily fill colors on this layer, we can go to our line art layer, tap it, and then set it to reference. Now on this layer, we can drop in a skin tone. I have created a color palette with different skin tones, but of course you can go ahead and grab your own. Now I'm going to use the second one, and I'll just drag it onto the face. Then you can tap continue filling and drop it into any of the gaps. But you can't drop it onto the neck, of course, because we have an entire gap here, so it would fill the entire screen. So first, let's go ahead and create the hair on a new layer. Let's tap the plus. Now for the hair, I'd like to use this color. Fourth color and a second row with some hair colors. Let's drag that in, then tap continue filling and fill in these gaps. We can also make a layer for the eyes. Let's tap the plus again. And for the eye color, I have some colors over here. I'd like to use a blue. We'll use this one over here, or I will use this one over here, 7th color in the first row. You just use your own color. Then I'll use continue filling and fill this one as well. Now for the rest of the filling we need to do, we can choose our line art layer again. So we need to tap that layer and turn off reference. Then let's make a layer underneath these irises. We'll tap the hair layer and tap the plus. And for our color, we'll grab this one over here, 6th color in the 3rd row, a nice color for the white of the eye. For our brush, we can still use the studio pen, or you could also use the script brush. I actually like that one as well, especially for coloring. Now the opacity should be at 100% and the size is at 25. And you could turn on symmetry. You can tap the layer, turn on drawing assist, so you can color both eyes at the same time. Let's follow this line to the corner and then drag in the color. Here we can make it a little bit more rounded. there. Then for the neck, let's make a new layer underneath our face layer. We'll tap the plus, drag this underneath, and then we'll grab our skin tone, second color in the first row. And then let's make a line from the right to the left. And then go along the edges. And drag in the color. Let's actually also get rid of our vertical line. We don't need that anymore. Let's tap the wrench, go to canvas and turn off the drawing guide. And then let's make a layer for our lips. Let's put that on a layer on top of our face. So first select this one and tap the plus. And then for the top lip, I want to use a darker color than for the lower lip because the top lip is in shadow. I want to use this color for that one. Fourth color in the third row. Now let's go in here and follow our sketch. You can adjust it a little bit, of course. And then for the lower lip, we'll use a lighter color. We'll use this one. That's the fifth color in the third row. We go upside down, follow that curve. And to make it a bit less crisp, those edges, we could go to the magic wand and then use Gaussian blur and slide to the right a little bit. And let's go for 2%. And then tap the magic wand again. I also want to add a little bit of a shadow underneath the nose. Let's grab that fourth color again in the third row. And let's create a shape like this. Next, let's add some shadows to our skin. We'll do that on a layer on top of our skin layer. Let's tap the plus and set this layer to clipping mask so that it'll only show up on our skin layer. And let's actually put this one right underneath, right in between. Then for those shadows, we'll tap the N here on this new layer and we'll set the layer blending mode to multiply. And now we can simply grab the local color of the skin and we can use that to create some shadows, like next to the hair, because the hair is blocking the light. And over here, and on the insides of the ears. And I want to do the same thing for the neck. So let's go to the neck layer and then tap the plus. Set that layer to clipping mask, tap the N, scroll up to multiply. And then you can simply use the base skin color that you have picked and use that to create a shadow underneath the chin. So something like this, maybe a bit more pointy here. Next, we'll add some warmth to the face. Let's go back to this face layer. Then let's tap the plus. And on this layer, I'd like to use a soft brush. Let's go to airbrushing and use the soft brush. And then let's add some blush to her face. Let's grab this color, fifth color in the third row. Let's make the brush 12%. The opacity is at 70%. And let's add some warmth here at the top of her eyelids and on this side, also on her cheeks and on this one, and also some warmth for the ears. And I want some warmth on the nose. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller, maybe 6%. Add a little bit of that pinkish color at the top and a little bit underneath here, underneath her lip. Then for some highlights, let's make a layer on top of our multiply layer. Let's tap the plus and set that to clipping mask. And then we can tap the N and set this to screen. And then for the color, let's use this one. That's the 8th color in the first row. And for the brush, we need to go back to the calligraphy brushes and use the script brush. And now let's go over the top of the ear, for instance, to add a bit of a highlight. Let's also add one here on the nose. And we could add highlight on the lips. And then once you have got this, you can lower the opacity a bit. You can just tap the S, slide to the left, and set it to 65%, for instance. By the way, we can also turn off our sketch at this time. It's over here. Let's turn that off. And now let's work on the eyes. Let's first go to the irises. Let's tap this layer and turn on alpha lock. It's a bit the same as clipping mask. We can only work on the shape, but it's on a single layer. Now let's grab the soft brush again and grab a darker blue. Let's grab this one. That's the 7th color in the 2nd row. And let's add some darker blue here at the top and over here as well. And then let's go even darker by using this one, 7th color in the 3rd row, right here at the top. So if your character has irises, then it's nice to make the top a bit darker and the bottom part lighter. Let's also shade the whites of the eye a little bit. Let's make a new layer on top of this one. Set it to clipping mask and then turn on, well, set it to multiply. So we can use the color that we use for the eye, this one, 6th color in the 3rd row, so that we can use that to shade it. You can go over here, it's very subtle, but you can just tap and hold to grab that color that you created and then go over again. And you could potentially do it again to make it darker and darker. You get a nice shadow in that eye. And of course it also needs a highlight, and we need to make that on top of the line art layer. So let's go all the way to the top, tap the plus, and then for the color we'll use this one, 8th color in the 1st row. And for the brush you need the script brush again. And then you need to make the highlights on the same side on both eyes. To make a big one and a small one. Then finally you can shade the hair a bit, or if you're going for a simple hairstyle you could also just have one flat color. But I'll go to the hair layer and make a layer on top by tapping the plus, setting it to clipping mask, and then tapping the N and scrolling up to multiply again. Then I'll grab the soft brush, and you can grab the local color of the hair and just use that to add some shadow. Let's make the brush a bit bigger, 17%, and add shadow here behind the head. Make the hair a little bit darker there. Also here in the front, just that underside. And also a little bit at the top here. That gives a little bit of volume to that front of the hair. So it doesn't matter what color you gave your hair, if you just use a multiply layer and that base color of the hair, you can add this shading. Then we'll make another layer on top. We'll tap the plus, set the new layer to clipping mask so that whatever we do, it'll only show up on our hair layer. And I will tap the N and set this layer to add, which is great to add light. And we can still use our base color, but let's make the brush a lot smaller, maybe 4%. Let's see. Yeah, that's nice. Let's add a little bit of light on the edge. Maybe on this hair, on the edge here. And let's add some lights here in the front. Just with some dabs, a little bit of light here. And there you have created a fun character. Of course, you can use lots of different rendering styles. Once you have that base structure, you can go all out. I'm really curious to see your results, so do be sure to share them. And then I hope to see you again for the next tutorial.